And now to our coverage of tonight's State of the Union address. We're joined now live by someone who's going to be attending that address. Michael Blecker is a San Francisco resident, a veteran, and an advocate who was invited by Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, and he's joining us now live from D.C. Michael, thank you for joining us here.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. Really appreciate it.
When did you find out that you were invited to the State of the Union?
Oh, maybe Wednesday or Thursday last week.
And what did you think when you found out? Who called you? How did the conversation go?
Well, my cell phone rang, and it was Nancy Pelosi on the other line.
Are you on a normal phone conversation speaking terms with her?
No, not really, but she's connected to her community. You know, I'm sure I'm not the only community member or leader involved with helping people that she calls and wants to know what's going on, and you know, it's not unusual, quite frankly, really. And
you're the executive director of Swords to Plowshares. That's a San Francisco community-based not-for-profit. It supports 3,000 homeless, low-income, and at-risk veterans in the Bay Area every year. So she's highlighting the work that your group is doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what she does. And she's helped give resources because she knows that's how vets will get the care they need. So it's been a big boon for us and all of our, over many, many years, right, providing care for those who are left neglected, and we need to care for them and how we can support them best, whether they're homeless services or helping us get a vet community center started, or employment services, or housing, or you name it. And especially in the new Pact Act, which will really allow a lot of veterans to get enrolled in the healthcare system for the first time. So I'm here. It's very exciting to be here, you know, to support that, really.
And so with you being there in the audience tonight with the president, Swords to Plowshares going to kind of have a spotlight put on it tonight. How do you think that will change things?
Well, it won't hurt. I mean, the whole thing is obviously, you know, people are really, they care about how veterans are treated and cared for. And so that's, you know, we know that. So that's really, you know, that window is important for us to sort of like that window of good faith and fair care for our veterans. And we want to take advantage of that and make sure that the resources follow the support. And with resources, we can really make a difference in the lives of veterans, and we have over the years.
So I would think that you're looking for President Biden there to talk about veterans. Is there anything else that what are you hoping that he will address tonight?
Well, I think there's some important remarks about the expansion of the Pact Act. I think I'm really looking forward to that. I think he will talk about continuing the support for homeless veterans. That's made a big difference in getting vets off the street. I mean, vets are one population among the homeless that's had a reduction for those in the street, and that's really because some of the investments that they've made through the VA and through community partners like Swords. So I'm looking forward to that.
What was your reaction when you found out that you got to go?
You know, it was just one more thing, one more level of support that she's given Swords and given veterans because, you know, she's determined. She doesn't leave, she says she doesn't leave any veterans behind, and she hasn't.
What's your visit like in D.C. been so far? Like, what do you think it's going to look like when you're inside there tonight? You're going to like see every politician, the Supreme Court justices are there. I mean, do you have like a clean suit to wear?
I did. I had to go Macy's, and I met with a stylist first time in my life. So I hope it looks good. But also to meet with really other vet leaders, and like myself, and who, you know, were benefited by the Pact Act, and just supporting that whole thing, right? How we can come together. It was really unique. I think it was the first time that Congress has ever really done anything specifically for vets, you know, part of the State of the Union. So that was kind of unprecedented.
Well, we're so glad that you were.
Oh,
we're so glad. Have you been able to meet Nancy Pelosi already? Have you interacted with her since you got there?
Yeah, in fact, I can see her from here.
Oh, I heard a voice. I was like, maybe.
Yeah, you know, she wants to make sure I don't forget things. It's okay.
I know she wants to come around and say hi.
She does probably wants to come around. Well, here, right, maybe this will be an added, just so she doesn't take my time, 4 minutes ahead or so. I mean, that wouldn't be right. Here.
No, I didn't. I'm very honored that Michael Blecker is with us. For decades, he has been a hero, not only in housing homeless vets, but in having a continuum of care, meeting their needs. As I introduced him at a press conference earlier today, I said he's been a tremendous intellectual resource in meeting the needs of our veterans. He's been a super patriot in his own service to our country. And who better to have here as we celebrate the Pact Act, something that we passed in Congress, the president signed, what it does is it addresses the needs of those veterans who are affected by burn pits. You had to prove that, now you don't have to prove. If you were there and you are diagnosed, you get the benefit. And hundreds of thousands of people have already benefited. Millions of people have signed up and are approved, and now they're in line getting their benefits. So it's a big deal. I was so happy because Michael had time to spend with our Secretary of the Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough, who's been to San Francisco, who has addressed when he was Chief of Staff to President Obama, slept overnight with our veterans in the community. So he has had this as a big priority, and now he's the secretary. So in any event, who better than Michael Blecker brings it all together, meeting the needs of our veteran, well, first of all, with his own service to our country on the battlefield, and then meeting their needs when they come home. As we say, on the battlefield, we leave no soldier behind. And when they come home, we leave no veteran behind. I'm very honored. Michael Blecker is my guest tonight.
Yeah, it sounds like he was an easy selection for you. What are you expecting to hear from the president tonight during the State of the Union? It seems like it's a very high-stakes speech from him.
It is, and well, in terms of the Pact Act, which was a very high priority, it was a transition. It's something that went beyond the incremental support that we have given to veterans time and time again, and we try to work in a bipartisan way when it comes to veterans. Although on this issue we had to make a fight because there are big dollars in mind. So the president has it as one of his priorities in the speech tonight, and that's why we're excited that Michael is here. But I think that the president will give us optimism about the future. He has taken us down a positive path to the future, but our work is not done. And he will show where we go from here. Very proud of his presidency. I'm excited about the speech tonight. And I'm glad that Michael will be here to applaud, as we all do, when he talks about the Pact Act.
In years past, there's sort of been some heckling and some poor decorum from people within the chamber there as the president is giving his speech. What do you think it will be like tonight? Do you think people will be on good behavior for this speech, or are you worried that things might get a little out of hand?
Well, I'm not worried about anything, but people may get out of hand. That's more their problem than ours and the president's. The speaker has asked his caucus to be on good behavior, the Republican caucus to be on good behavior. Let's hope that they will be. But we hope that everyone will be on good behavior, because this is the State of the Union address, something called for in the Constitution, where the president comes forward and puts forth his view of the State of the Union. And we have a lot to talk about that we want people to know about it. We want them to know about the Pact Act so they sign up for it. We want them to know about job opportunities that have been created during the Biden administration so that they can avail themselves of it. And of course, when we talk about our economy, the markets have never been higher. Unemployment is down. Inflation is coming down. Wages are up. But we all have to fight the cost of living. And that's, in terms of addressing supply chains and all the things that go into that. We're also concerned globally. We want, and I hope the president will make an appeal, I think he will, to the Congress to pass the assistance for Ukraine, for the humanitarian assistance for Gaza, for the issues that are in the priorities that are in the national security legislation, including the national security of securing our border. So again, and then when we talk about the economy in our country, we have to talk about women. So the president has always been a champion in terms of women, child tax credit, of affordability for child care, respecting our child care workers, and making sure they earn what they deserve in that job, and healthcare providers, home healthcare providers. So that all the things that enable a woman and a man actually to go to work knowing that their family is in good shape. But just for example, in the CHIPS Act, which we're very proud of, job creator, as I said, 26 million jobs the president has been created under the president. A lot of it's private sector, some of it public sector, but all of it with justice so that many more people can participate. And in that CHIPS Act, it says if you want one of these grants, you have to have childcare at your facility. So in any event, we're leapfrogging over some past ideas about incrementalism and being more transformative under President Biden. And that speech is what we're looking forward to tonight.
If we had more time, I would ask you all about the election and what had happened across the nation and here in California. But to wrap things up, Michael said he got a new suit. Does he look good to be your guest tonight?
Yeah. He was there with the secretary of the Veterans Affairs Committee, with the members of Congress, the chairs, the other veterans who came, and they thought he looked very distinguished.
Nancy Pelosi, thank you for jumping in here unannounced last minute to talk to us a little bit here on KRON 4 this afternoon. Appreciate it. And thank also Michael for letting us know about this honor he's received and how much he's looking forward to being your guest tonight at the State of the Union. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.